As we're into the second half of July, we are well into the new anime season. Likewise, I'm moving further down the rabbit hole of watching every new series that airs this summer, in order to bring you my views and opinions on the shows that are airing, and what I reckon is worth your time. Once again, it's time for 2017 Summer Anime Preview, from a different perspective. Convenience Store Boyfriends is another love story about a group of young kids who are learning about love and life in high school. This time we have 3 couples. At a convenience store? Seriously, is this show's hook that they get together because of a convenience store? I think I've heard it all now. The first episode feels like this anime doesn't know what it wants to be. It flips between characters so much I end up confused over which characters I was watching. There's no real hook to draw me to each couple, and no overarching plotline for me to get interested in. We just have 3 potential couples, and a wait to see if they go anywhere. My money's on they finally do confess towards the end of the series, probably at a convenience store. Do I really want to stick around and suffer the boredom of watching this happen? Probably not. Some shows like this have redeeming features like fun characters, or an interesting setting. But this show has absolutely none of that. It's just some dull looking leads, and some predictable plot lines. And if you want to try this for yourself, go ahead, it's on Crunchyroll. Sports anime are always such a big draw to a certain group of anime fans, especially when that sport involves getting a whole bunch of attractive and well-built young bodies, mostly naked, and getting wet for our entertainment. If you are thinking of a hit series 3, then you're not going to be alone, as a new show airing this summer, Dive, has much more than just a passing resemblance to Kyoto Animation's The Joshi-based classic. Not that being a show for the Joshi is particularly a bad thing. In the same way that anime about cute girls can be terrible if the story is crap, there's no rule saying that a show designed to sell character goods to rabid female fans is going to be bad. Now, I have to come clean straight off the bat. I completely missed the hype over 3. I've not seen it. But if Dive resembles it, then it is a show I may consider going back to, as I unexpectedly quite enjoyed this foray into the watery fun. Enough preamble, Dive is a show about diving. Maybe it's not quite as glamorous as swimming, but it's most definitely a sport. While swimming is like track athletics, diving is more the gymnastics of a watery world. As such, Dive is a much harder task of trying to sell us its sport. But it does so by introducing drama and threat straight off bat. Tomoki Sakai is a young diver in training. He's part of a Mizuki diving club, and joined it after being stunned by watching Yoichi, another diver, and lead character in dive. The MDC is under threat. The company that owns and funds them is suddenly reevaluating their funding of young sports. And clubs like the MDC, which don't have much success in competition, could be closed down. And this is the crux of the plot. It's a classic sports anime trope, so it's not at all surprising to see it rolled out again here. It's not that surprising, we're getting a lot of sport anime recently as well, with the likes of Free, Yomichi Pedal, and now adding this onto that list. It's not a hard task to look forward to 2020 and see that the Olympics are heading to Tokyo, and remembering that back when London was moving towards hosting it a few years back, the Olympic hype train was strong over here as well. Overall, I enjoyed Dive and it will probably watch some more. I'm not 100% convinced it's a keeper yet, but it's one of the better shows I've seen so far this season. You can try it out for yourself on Anime Strike in America, or on Amazon Video in the UK. At the start of every anime season, I sit down in front of my computer and mark my list of shows that look interesting. This season there were a few obvious choices: Symphogear, New Game, Restaurant in Another World. There was almost no chance I wasn't going to like these shows. Spoiler alert, by the way, New Game is going to get a green light in an upcoming video. Made in Abyss was a show that completely passed beneath my radar. The promo art looks colourful but very childish. The premise sounds like it's going to be a boring fantasy adventure series. I should know by now never to judge an anime based on the art style. Made in Abyss totally won me over with its charm at first episode. The art style is still a bit JRPG inspired, but it works as our leads are all orphans designed to be both cute and cuddly, with the hijinks they get up from the first episode, but show is very lovable. Our lead character is Rico, an apprentice cave raider who is able to explore the upper levels of the Abyss, a seemingly bottomless hole in the middle of town, which leads into world unknown, with treasures and strange artifacts hidden throughout. Rico dreams of exploring the depths of the Abyss in the hope to find a long missing mother. Not that her absence has done anything to dampen Rico's boundless optimism and energy, and she's a super energetic and inquisitive explorer, and always trying to improve her position in getting in trouble when she tries to bend the rules. When exploring the shallow levels of the Abyss, she and her friend Nat get into a bunch of trouble when a monster attacks them and tries to eat them. Thankfully, they're saved by a weird kid in a helmet and metal hands. Despite being saved, the new arrival is unresponsive, but she recognises that it's probably some kind of robot, and so, as a fan of all things interesting, rather than trying to seek help from adults, she revives him in some sort of electric chair thing, and it works. Rigo, as she christens him, is not what you expect. He's a bit timid, and overall a bit of a doormat, especially when faced with the likes of Rico. He does, however, have super useful extendo arms. We're not told more about Regu, but the future relationship between him and Rico will be real fun to watch. Will she find his mother? Will Regu learn more about him? Who knows? But I'm interested to find out. And you can find out for yourself on Anime Strike in America and on High Dive in the UK. I've talked before about shows that didn't stand out for me when checking out what was airing each season. I've talked about shows that looked good and shows that passed me by. And then there were shows like Vatican Miracle Examiner. There were alarm bells ringing before I even started watching the show, and the start of the show really does not offer any kind of comfort. Not only do we have a bunch of kids summoning demons and a blonde-haired person being crucified, we then get introduced to our lead characters who are supposed investigators in a scene that can only be described as uninspiring. I described the show to someone as CSI Vatican City, and it's not far wrong. We're not really investigating crime scenes, but scenes of potential miracles on behalf of a Roman Catholic Church. Our oddball pair of priests take different views on how to solve problems. Whilst Robert Nicholas prefers to use his book martial arts to solve cases, Joseph Haraga tends to use science. They're complete opposites. I suppose Vatican Miracle Examiner would appeal to some, but a combination of a dull cast and an even more dull plot doesn't really endear a show to me. I'm writing this several days after the airing, and I'm actually struggling to remember much of the importance of our show. There are some boring priests, may go and investigate a questionable miracle in the same place but with some demons and worship. I'm not going to go back to find out how this anime evolves, but if you're interested in finding out for yourself, it's on Anime Strike in the US and High Dive in the UK. Every anime that airs in a season has to try to stand out in some way. Some do it through big seiyuu, others through heavy advertising. Some get a lot of focus just with the studio they're being animated by, and had it been a few years ago, 18if would have been in this category. Sadly, since their heady days, Studio Gonzo have fallen from grace, and 18if's strategy for standing out is by being as flashy and stylistic as possible. In an era where anime titles compete to be as long as and descriptive as possible, 18if goes perpendicular to that mindset. As to what the show is about, after watching episode 1, I haven't a clue. A whole lot of stuff happened, but it's not quite clear as to what I was actually watching. It felt like someone had been watching Madoka Magica, and really liked the Labyrinth of Witches, and so thought it'd be cool if it was an anime where the show was like that for the entire episode. And it's trying too hard in the wrong places. Too much focus on the world has been completely insane, and there's no real thought given as to why the world is like it is, and what the main character is doing there. Ah yes, our main character Haruto, a boring guy with dull clothes and a pair of headphones, whose default position on anything is whatever. He has no idea where he is or what he's doing, but is still able to help solve the problems thrown up. We also have a scientist who tries to explain the world, and is a cat. Despite having never watched it, it's up there sitting in my backlog of Doom right now, the scientist's cat to me reminds me of Akabo, or whatever I remember him from verse 1 of Steins Gate manga at least. Same laid-back science thing he's got going on. The anime appears to be a problem-solving series where the villain of the week is saved by Haruto and Katsumi. There's a deeper story about it somewhere involving a dream girl Lily, but other than that, there's not a huge much to talk about. If you are interested in trying 18 for yourself, it's airing on Crunchyroll on Fridays. So, what did you think? An interesting mix of shows this time, some good, and then there were the other ones as well. Be sure to let me know in the comments what you think of the shows I've previewed here, and be sure to check out my other preview videos for the other shows airing this season. As ever, thank you very much for watching, have a wonderful day, bye bye.